World news tonight.
Yeah, you see, I go. We're back. I mean, it's been a while, but we here. We got a guest with us tonight, man. Daniel.
What's going on, everyone? We back. Yes, the also we have a special guest. We will bring
I
on.
ain't gonna introduce him just yet. Let them wonder who he is, because we didn't do our birthday shoutouts yet.
Okay, then do your birthday shout.
We gotta start the show with birthday shoutouts, but I ain't gonna lie, it's been so long. I know who all we missed. The last show was May.
Was my birthday, so
Daniel's birthday, yeah. So since then, happy birthday to everyone since May 4th. God bless you all. Made it to another year. If you guys special shows, you could go. Sorry. Yeah, we little rusty. I ain't gonna lie.
Zoe Demetria.
Zoe Demetria. Yeah. Sorry. No, I did Demetria. So Zoe, Mommy was day before yesterday. Quite a few people. I mean, you all know we love you all. We done tell you all happy birthday on Facebook and in all the family groups and whatnot. Ain't no love lost, man, So without further ado, I can let Daniel. Oh, y'all see we all together, right? Anyway, we can let Daniel introduce our special guest. Daniel.
So yeah. So today, we wanted to. Go ahead. Today we wanted to have
Listening for the accolades.
Have a special show for Father's Day, post Father's Day, which happens now. We're now running to his birthday, but we are sitting here in the presence of one of the greatest,
most awesomest, super duper.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. The Right Reverend
Bishop the White
Daddy
F.
Gibson.
Hey.
AABS.
Thank you. Good to be with you guys, man. I'm proud of what you guys have been doing. Just looking forward to another, couple of shows, and this one in particular. Blessed to have you both here. It's been a while since we've been together.
Where are we?
We are in
reporting live,
coming to you live from the Hoosier State, Indianapolis, Indiana. So these guys flew in to surprise their mom for her birthday yesterday, which was just a really
yesterday.
Sorry, 23rd. Which was really a huge and a great surprise for her, and we are so blessed that they're here. My daughter is here as well, so all of the kids came up to surprise Deanna for her birthday, which was just a really awesome surprise.
And the favorite is doing what?
And the favorite is staying over for a week.
Good favorite.
Pray my strength in the Lord.
So now we know who Daddy favorite is.
Pray my strength in the Lord, because they got to keep him for a whole week. So, but that's good.
My boss is I have work to do.
So he'll be working remote for the next couple of days, just spending some time with his parents. So blessings.
Yes.
I got home to wait in case he called me to tell me he boss him on paying me now. So I got it. I'm just joking, man. But I do have to go back to work. So yeah. And I'm a long way from home. So but yeah, man, it's great. I was very excited and happy to be able to come up, spend this time with my mom. I had planned to come over a month ago. Me and my dad was working on a surprise, then spoke to my brother, found out he was coming. Maybe like a week ago, I found that out. And then 2 days ago or 3 days ago, found out my sister was coming. I said, oh man, this is the first time. This is actually the first time we are all together as a family, the five of us, since July, Mom's birthday, since the same time, 2019.
Yeah.
2 years ago is the first time since in 2 years we've all been in the same place for an extent for at the same time, and
for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, because Daniel and I saw each other Christmas 2019 for like 5 minutes. He was walking in the house from the airport. I was walking out the house going to the airport to leave. So
that was actually Christmas. That was January 2021. That was this year.
No, boy.
Yes.
2021. Oh yeah.
You spent Christmas in 2020 in Baltimore.
That's true.
And I'm supposed to be the old one.
So anyway, since the oldest is out here, today, like we said, we'll talk about fatherhood and just really, just the real truth, uncut, raw. I promise my feelings are gonna be hurt, Daddy, and I don't know about Dion, but I really, this show is about being transparent and true, and we just want to tell stories, and hope people talk about relationships and stuff. So I was kind of going to get into it. Do you want to start off? When's your oldest?
I mean, I know it's been, obviously, you all know from the first show, the relationship between me and Daddy is slightly different. And so it had its own unique beginning. There's never a point that I didn't regard him as my daddy, because that's what he always acted like. And I appreciate that. I tell you to your face, I said it on the first show, but I appreciate you stepping up and taking on, someone else's work and doing a stellar job. I mean, I think I turned out okay. I mean, he can tell you about
Right.
He can tell you about the middle part of my, that dash. So like right now, the start is my birthday on the day that I was born, and I still in the dash period, but like this the end part of the dash right now. We can go back a little further in the dash to sometimes I used to have but get some real serious cut up, but but
Hey, we in the US.
Yeah, we talking about what happened in the bottom. I never pressed charges, so but yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I mean, tell me about that though. Tell me about what it meant to you, or what brought you to be able to say, you know what, I want to marry this woman. She has a kid. I want this kid to be my own. Like, what was your thought process, and how did that go?
The crazy thing is, right? As you're growing up, as a young man, you have certain things that you see in your life. Like, I see I'm going to get married at a certain age. I'm going to have kids at a certain age. I want to do this, and this, based on some schedule that we define for ourselves. And I met your mom, and there was never for me an issue with the fact that meeting her, having, she had a child, like that wasn't even an issue. I didn't even give it really a second thought. And, I don't know if you remember, but when your mom and I met, you were 2 going on 3.
I guess. No, like 3. I think 3.
About 3. Okay, 2 going on 3. That's my story.
Yeah. You tell your story.
Right? And, your mom worked in the hotel industry, so there were some days when, some weekends when she, had to work on a Saturday or even on a Sunday, and you actually spend time with me. As strange as people may say that sounds, or as crazy as it may sound, that was part of the package. It was never a case that, I like your mom, and then there was a child. It was like, it was your mother, and there's Dion, and that's the package. And that's the package that I quite welcomely took on, and was no issue, and so there were Saturdays when I would pick her up, we would drop her to work, and you and I would hang out for the day, and then we'd pick her up at the end of the day, and it just developed from that. I never thought about it. I never was one to say, well, oh my God, this one has a child. How am I going to deal with this? How am I going to spoil it? Like,
I never was rude or anything like that. Like, I used to be compliant and behave.
Well, see, I was dating your mom, so I was trying to be nice, So I would have boxed in your head, but that probably would have been a little problem. But no, it was. I mean, you were a kid, you're right, and you were a boy, which is, you all get into mischief. That's just common. That's just common nature. And that that was just that's just how it was. It wasn't for me. It was like no big deal. It really wasn't.
But you're saying that, right? You're saying that. You're being diplomatic right now. But for real, when you left your mommy and Dion and gone by your boys who all single, chilling.
Yeah, tell us what they used to say.
Yep.
And you now being you playing in, I can imagine them. I can call names: Uncle Christian, Uncle Martin, Uncle Pete, Uncle Andre, probably a couple others I can't think of. Couple others, and I could hear them right now. But you playing stepdaddy, but what you dealing with?
Never happened.
No?
Conversation never happened.
Wow.
Never happened. Seriously.
Kudos, Jenks. That's why I still look up to you.
Even 9 grams?
Never happened.
I mean, you're the baby. You're that baby.
Yeah, but guess what? you just like how would you guys, right? You raise your kids with certain
us. Yeah, babies.
No, let me finish. Praise God for that. Let me finish. So you raise your kids with certain values, right? And the one thing that I think that dad definitely instilled in me as an older children is respect for people, okay, and respect for circumstances. Yeah, we could all sit back and hold him and be like, oh, well, this happened and the next thing happened, and it isn't the ideal, white picket fence type fairy tale wedding fairy tale life that people dream about having, but it's life and things happen in life. And in some cases you get derailed. In some cases you have circumstances and obstacles that just come your way. And it's a part of life. And, I think my parents poured into me that it's more important to be respectful. It's more important to be a man of his word. It's more important to be responsible. And so if that responsibility entailed seeing somebody, and if this was a person that I was supposed to be with, then I get, it came with a child. And I remember having conversations with my father-in-law, God rest his soul, with regards to, hey, you don't have to worry about Dion, we can take care of him. And I tell him, oh, no. If I'm taking your daughter has a son, I'm taking your daughter and her son. I'm not taking your daughter and leaving the son behind for his grandparents to raise. No, that's that. For me, that was a non-stop. So that's just what it is. But no, as far as I should say, my boys, never an issue. And you know them, so you obviously came into that circle, met them. I don't think there's any of my friends that you don't know, and the same for Daniel. You came into that circle.
Daniel, like you don't remember people, though, y'all.
I know my uncle. Okay, so remember when she had Dion, y'all get married. What was that like transition like? Because now you're going from babysitting, playing daddy, to being daddy.
Well, I was being daddy from day one. So
okay, but it wasn't.
So for me, it wasn't define being daddy though.
Because being daddy and being a father are different things. So
being daddy in what sense?
In a sense of making sure that you are taken care of, that you're clothed, you're fed, that you
okay.
You went to church.
I just want you to
you're raised.
Clarify,
you're raised in a home that is loving and that is protective and that is also giving you good guidance and direction.
Yeah.
So see, it was never a case of well, the child somewhere else, right? So even with when we got married, again, my in-laws, love them to death, would say, hey, just bring Dion for the weekend and this is my child though. So yeah, if we're gonna go away for a weekend, if we're gonna do something for a weekend, fine. It's gonna be on our terms, but it's not gonna be a case of feeling bad or guilty or infringing or anything like that. It was never like that. And see, I think for me, I grew up in a home with both my parents, so that's all I know. All we know as as the six kids that six siblings that I have or had. All we know is a home that was a refuge, that was a place of security, that was, someplace that we could go to for advice, even when you didn't want it, you still used to get it. So that's the home that we grew up in. So by extension, that's the home that I wanted to develop for myself. I think God has blessed me with three great children. They're very different, all unique in their own way. And as far as they're concerned, they think they're the three only children, like they're the only child. But three kids that are productive, that are contributing, that have never been in real trouble. The mischievous kind of stuff that y'all get into, as kids growing up. Yeah, but we've been good.
Okay, so let's back up to the mischievous stuff. Mm-hmm. We know how I came to the world. You didn't want me bam, my hair. So we ain't go there.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so fast forward to mischievous. So do your mischievous versus my mischievous?
Well, let me tell you. I go back to my first statement, right? three very different kids in the way that you guys developed. Okay, so Dion's mischievous is different. Dion is very much like his mom, social, outgoing, loves to entertain, loves to be around people. Me, you're a little bit more, you're a lot more like me. Introvert, easygoing, we ain't really trying to, get too stressed over a lot of stuff. And so his mischievousness was different from yours, because of the type of persons that y'all are. So Dion having a couple car accidents,
A couple,
I've been couple too.
a couple, right?
That's
Right.
been real now. Couple or like I don't say a threesome. That's a little sexual.
Right?
I had two bad accidents in my life. Two. Couple fender benders. Me and Daddy got about the same amount of fender benders.
Yeah, but
So we ain't gonna count them.
But I never had no,
You ever with you before?
No, I never. I never root up some trees and stuff like that. But anyway,
no seawalls to this.
I didn't roll over the seawall. The seawall saved my life.
So I go
But
back
they
to what I
very,
said.
what I said, they very
Hey,
bad.
we have an open conversation.
I mean,
But yeah, so
That's
the
what's like-
mischievousness is different. You guys, because you guys are just two different personalities.
tell me those stories from the mischievous.
Well, I know one, but I ain't gonna go there because that'll be defamation of character. But I had to discipline you, so we can leave that one alone.
But you were just me with you.
Yeah, this was when mommy them was, because keep in mind I 9 years older than Daniel, so when I was in high school, Daniel was still in very much in primary school, and so I used to be home with them. Making sure they get their homework done, making sure they behaving. Sometimes I doing my homework and I hearing screaming and shouting out front. Hey, big brother gotta go, because guess what? If I don't deal with it, then he tell me, I calling mommy and daddy, I say, yeah, Floyd, call them and tell them I slap you too. For what? Because tell them why I discipline you, But yeah, man, I mean, Diane, you ain't no saint. Let's not pretend like you're a saint.
I never said I was the same.
But there was one incident that has stuck with me to this day. I think Daddy might even know what I'm talking about, because I've talked about it before. That really, really kind of like, I understand why parents is like flip a switch and just go crazy on the children, because that particular thing, boy, I can leave it there. I mean, Daniel is not a bad person. He was maybe like 9, maybe like 8 or 9 at the time. So, very young and doing stupidness. And yeah, so don't judge him by me saying all of that. That's him of the past,
Thank God for salvation.
Yes. Go ahead. Yes. Bishop, he is safe. Pastor Barnes, he is safe.
Man.
I think you know me.
I try to figure out what you're supposed to. Anyway,
You talk about it off air.
Yeah, offline. We can do it offline.
Yeah.
so okay, you have your children now. You married, have your little job, and then you had a little business, whatever. What was it like now going from single, make a little job, make a couple of dollars, walking down to I got this your 5 ways, buddy.
Yeah, listen.
Building house.
All I can say is grace of God first and foremost. Great family, supportive family, great friends, supportive friends. It is a I think particularly when I was growing up and coming out of high school and really partying, and the guys who to this day that I still hang out with, we used to do a lot of free, we'd go away, we would, just hang out on the weekend.
What y'all used to do? Change what I used to do, what I still used to do.
And go where?
Listen, man, y'all got a couple thousand followers. I gotta be careful in how I yeah, and then you find that changed because now you have responsibilities. Okay, but I think what was really good is that even after Deanna and I got married, we had a home. Our home became a place where a lot of our friends would come on the weekend and just hang out.
And they wonder why I like to entertain. They did it every weekend, sometimes every day of the week.
People would just come by and just hang out, not doing anything crazy, but just being around, having great conversation, good drinks, watching a movie or what have you, that type of stuff. Because I think you find that, listen, if you're doing the same thing at 18 or same thing at 28, sorry, that you were doing at 18, that's a problem. If you're doing the same thing at 35 that you were doing at 28, that's a problem. So as you start to mature, what you find pleasure in and what you find relaxation in is going to change. So yeah, when we were 18 and 19 and, we were going out to the club and coming home from the club and flipping over cars, getting in an accident, that's what you get that from.
So you flip
Right?
over a car doing?
Man, look here, Andre, if you're watching this, we were just talking about the story the other day,
That one
right?
roots the story, man.
right? Oh, Lord. Those types of things that I think it was good to experience that at that age, because when you got 22 and 24 and 25 and now you have a family, you don't have that wild free spirit anymore. You already got it out your system. So you now have more time and more focus on your family. And for me, that's what it was. More focus on my family. And my friends, fortunately enough, quality friends, right?
Doing the same thing, more or less.
Was doing the same thing, or at least if those that weren't doing the same thing in terms of settling down with family were settling down and getting more focus on their future and their careers and their life. And I tell you guys all the time, as you develop and mature and elevate yourself, and it's nothing about being better than people or snobbish or anything like that, but as you elevate, you are going to separate. You're going to lose some people because there are going to be some friends that are just not going to move in that vein with you, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just all a circle of life. Fortunately for me, I can really say, I'm in a group now with Christian. Christian and I met in grade 3 in primary school, and we've been friends ever since. Okay. Andre came in grade 7 or form 1 from, he went to a different primary school, but then we met up in high school. And we've been
form.
Yeah, well, see,
exactly.
Back then it was Form 1, Form 2, Form 5. Straight up to Form 5, which is now grade 7 through 11 or now 12.
They ain't finished school, y'all. They only gone to grade 11.
Hey, proud St. Anne's. Proud St. Anne's member, man. Graduated at 15 in Form 5. That's right. Daddy's smart, boy.
Must be smart. Or something wrong with
But
no, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
we graduated 15 in grade 11.
Yeah,
from QC.
That's what it was.
I was standard.
Mm-hmm.
QC. I think QC and St. Andrews were the first 2 to do grade 12.
So, but it's all about quality friends, and quality people in your life that pour into your life. It ain't about quantity. It ain't about in this social media world that we live in now, about the likes,
fake, man.
The likes and the followers and those types of things. And people who only know you by your social media handle. It was different. And kids nowadays are different. We're seeing that every day.
Mm-hmm. So I got a question, right? I had another one, but it slipped my mind. This one you could answer later on, but I want to know, because we've had some hard times as a family. I want to know what it was like. I mean, it can come in now, but I just didn't want to, because it's not really flowing with what we were talking about just now. But during those hard times when you weren't working, when things was tough, like, how was it for you as a man? Because I think a lot of men out there, a lot of fathers out there suffer. They get frustrated. They become abusive to either their wife or their baby mother or their children or other people, to themselves. They abuse substances. How were you able to cope? And I mean, I think I may know part of the answer, but how were you able to cope and manage and stay solid? Because I didn't know things was like suffering until later on. Or like could be real until like when I go to school and they come pull me out of class, say your school fee ain't paid. And I'd be like, mother flip. So I gotta sit under the pavilion, and then you go home and be like, boy, daddy, mommy, they pulled me out of class, You be like, man, I know why we could deal with that. And so, like, I knew better because for some reason they used to pull high school children out of class. They used to pull primary school children out of class. But like, how were you able to deal with that and stay calm and make sure that your family was still, I guess, I don't want to say okay because it wasn't necessarily okay, but was still, you never allowed that stress to trickle down to your children. I know you and mommy felt it, but you never allowed it to trickle to your children. Like how?
No, I want to give some context to what I mean talk about. So like going from I remember, being on a climb professionally, just offshore banking, going, climbing, make a move, drop, kind of come back up, drop, and then back up, and now you're like then you're trying to go all going to college. So it's like you going, but it's like
Listen, life is a series of cycles, okay, a series of peaks and valleys, and I think for us, the most important thing between your mother and I was that our family stayed together. Okay, as difficult as it may be, and as challenging as the times, when the valleys come, as challenging as those times are, that the family stays together, the family stays in prayer, the family stays uh, uh, as solid as possible, and you as kids, you know, within reason and within what makes sense, that you guys continue to have a life that's as even keel as possible. All right, so let us be the ones that are kind of going through the peaks and valleys, but you guys have as even keel a life as possible. I don't think we ever, we never tried to hide any situations, circumstances, but you explain them to, because obviously a kid at 18 or 13 or 12 or 9 or 8 is going to have a different level of understanding, right? But I think, having family support, hugely important. And, on both sides, on my side of the family and on the other side of the family, a strong family unit that is supportive, and that is there. And more importantly, for us, looking back on it now, it was an understanding of the importance of prayer and God, and really being open to allow God to use you. Um, when you start on the road to, and we're not going to turn this into a kind of altar call situation, but let's be real. When when you're living in the world, life seems to be so much easier. And I think you find that even when you're going through challenges, you look at other people and you be like, well, why they ain't going through this, And not to say that anyone is heathens, if you will, but obviously when you're at different spiritual levels in your life, I think like someone says, with greater levels come greater devils. All right, or at higher levels come higher devils.
Biggie Smalls said it best. More
And
money, more problems.
and I think as a family, um, being able to balance um, being able to balance what's important to you as a family and what society tells you is important is where a lot of families get into trouble. Okay, because society tells you certain things. Society tells you got to drive a type of car. Society tells you got to live in a certain area. Society tells you that you got to dress a certain way. And a lot of us chase those things, and it's because chasing those things that we get into circumstances and situations, right? And then you realize, I mean, if nothing else, the last 2 years with COVID has taught us that all the stuff we thought was important wasn't important. Okay, wasn't important. All the clothes that you could have, all the shoes that you could have, when you wearing t-shirt and pajama pants 7 days a week for 2 years or a year, 14 polo shirt hanging in your closet ain't important. Okay. And I think for us as the parents and raising you guys, yeah, every parent wants to give their child a better life than they had. Right. The question is, what is that? What does that mean? And those are the things that as you go through your peaks and valleys, and as we went through ours, you try to really put some context to what does that really mean? Like, what does that really mean to have a better life?
Most.
Yeah. Okay. does having a better life means you got to go to a private school versus a public school? Or does having a better life mean being educated, whether that's private or public? And see,
because you could be dumb in a private school or brilliant in a public school.
Exactly. Okay. I think where we create the valleys is where, we lose sight of what's important, and where we lose sight of, or where we gain more sight of what society is telling us that we should be, what we should be doing. And I think it is a learning experience, right? And a lot of fathers, there's a huge amount of pressure on men to be that fixer in the family. We're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to do this. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be the end all, be all in a family. And for a man, that's hard. Okay. And then when you factor in kids and a spouse and those challenges, it is hard. I think for me, it was going through those dark times that made you appreciate the peaks, and made you appreciate that, what makes me happy, or what makes me happy is making sure that my family is happy as best as I can, right? And making sure that my kids and my wife are provided for as best as I can. And there's a very fine line that defines what is that as best as I can by my individual standard, and what is as best as I can
I like both that.
by that society standard.
But what happens when, as best as you can by your individual standard, screw society? I mean, you all know me. I live a life. Most of my family don't like half my decisions, but I ain't doing great, but I'm doing better than a lot of those who don't like my decisions. And my thing is, what happens when your best simply isn't good enough for what is needed at the time?
Who defines what is needed?
I mean, okay.
So I can let me give you a live example, right? You go to the food store, you fill up your cart, you get to the checkout line, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Cashier rings up your stuff, your bill is X amount of dollars. How many people in society say, hey man, put that on the bill? Okay? So, and when I talk about society, I'm talking about people in general who we kind of live this persona for other people. I'm not talking about your immediate family. That's a different type of village or society, right? But I'm talking about the general populace who we kind of live this pretend life for. These people ain't there, okay? When you in an accident, or when you having an issue at school, that society that we are so consumed by are not there to help you through those times, right?
They actually usually the ones who are there talking about you. You family included,
right? But your immediate and your nuclear family are the ones that
I call it as it is.
Your immediate and nuclear family are the ones that, and that that nuclear family may be blood, and it may be friends that are close, like family, right? Are the ones that are there or supposed to be there, and that's why you have real friends, right? They're supposed to be the ones that are supposed to be there to say to you, "Hey man, you know what? That's what you're doing here. This ain't making sense."
I just want to plug a quote real quick. While I remember, and this is anecdotal. Will Smith said, "We spend our lives working hard, spending a bunch of money, buying things we don't need to impress people that don't matter." So, as you watch this and you rewind it, then you will understand why I said it, because he said a lot, but before I got to say that. But that's one thing my parents taught me. But we all like nice things. The three of us, my mom and my sister. But one thing, we don't need nice things. We like nice things for ourselves. It ain't about impressing people. And that's just a message I want to give to all audience. But go ahead, Diane. I don't know if you had anything else.
Yeah. So I think we kind of got more into the worldly, and I wanted to kind of get back into how we were raised and daddy as a daddy. Goodbye. We talk about like you want to say something about how do you know what you're giving is good is enough or something like that, right?
Yeah, I said no. I said when your best is enough or
For
isn't
you,
enough.
yeah.
And when I said that, I didn't mean like by anybody's standards. I meant like, but you really can't pay the light bill, or you really can't go to the store and buy food today. Like that's what I was talking about. Like you busting your hip, but it really just ain't like it ain't doing everything you need. I don't know the wants, the desires. I don't know the needs.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So I mean, I probably get a little personal here. I kind of unpack something. So Dad talked about not wanting to really. He shared with us a lot of things that happened, but not really divulging into them because of our ages, whatever. And so I guess I know for me, as I grew older, I started to find a lot of things, and I know for me, I started to grow some level of resentment, or towards daddy, or not communicating, or communicating effectively. And I'd be like, well, we get Christmas gifts, but the power off. I want Christmas and power because that's just how daddy is. Like, daddy, is Superman.
Mhm.
And then when daddy don't deliver, but daddy ain't like saying, well, he's saying, but he ain't saying.
Yeah, because like you say, you every parent wants to protect their kid. Okay, every parent wants to put a shield around their child. Whether that is right or wrong, I think depends on the on the circumstances and the way a person is raised. Right. Um, as you go through this life of marriage and raising kids, okay, you're not going to make all the right decisions. Okay, you're not going to make all the wrong decisions either. And I think for parents, sometimes we struggle with what is right, what is wrong. Sometimes we struggle with what do you say, what you don't say. Okay, there are some people I know who kids live in this world and the parents in that world. I'm like, because this is the world, because I want to protect my kid so much, I create this persona, or I create this world that really doesn't exist, right? And what you find is that when these kids get released into the real world, they struggle to cope. They struggle to function, right? Because at some point, as a parent, you can't protect your kid anymore. Okay, at some point you can't do everything and make it all good, right? Um, and I think as parents we struggle with, in some cases, what to say, what not to say, so you don't say some stuff. So in wanting to protect you guys, yeah, there may have been some things that we didn't talk about, which in hindsight we probably should have talked about, right? Because as you're growing and you're learning and you're developing as an adult, and ultimately as a husband and a father, things should start to change, right? So yeah, in a certain circumstance, we didn't have this type of conversation because I didn't think it was beneficial or right or too difficult a conversation to have, right? And as you develop and you get older, you realize that I'm actually doing you a disservice, because at the end of the day, when I release you into that world, because we didn't have a difficult conversation about a difficult circumstance or situation, you don't know how to function in that scene when that situation comes to you, right? It is a learning experience, right? And I think as a parent, you have to be willing to change and develop. I mean, think about it. You have a baby, that baby grows up. So there's obviously change and development happening. Okay. If you as a parent ain't growing up and changing and developing as well, then again, that's a problem. But some of us as parents don't realize that in some cases till it's too late. Sometimes as parents, we either wait too long or do it too quickly. All right. So there is a delicate balance. And I think particularly for young parents, um, being able to have a forum where you can be transparent and open. And I'm not talking about these kind of, fluffy marriage seminars where life is going to be golden roses and it's going to be all nice.
But that's
You
all
know?
people into now. They ain't into the real. They into the show.
Yeah.
They're all into the show.
You know, I think having the forum, as you
No,
can see,
seriously.
2 different kids. Having the forum
You
where
gotta be real, man.
where you can have those real conversations is something that we desperately need. And the reason why we don't have those forums, Dion, is because, again, particularly now, it was different when we were growing up, but particularly now, that social media lifestyle is so, oh my God, I got 10 million likes today. I'm in the millionaires club of followers. It's a much different time. When you guys were 12 and 13, the world was significantly different than a 12 and 13-year-old right now.
Hell yeah. So that you helped me remember the point I wanted to make earlier before I asked about the tough times and whatnot. You mentioned at 25 you were married to my mom. But to mom. She was 23, you were 25. I'm 32, turning 33, unmarried, no kids. Our grandparents, your parents, when mom and granddaddy, mommy parents got married very late for people in their set. Nana and Gramps were a little bit before them. We're on the same, a little bit older too though. But what do you think is the reason why a lot of persons, I mean, most of my friends who are married, most of them did it between like 29, 30. Like, I don't think I have very, very few friends in my age group, like who I grew up with, who have been married more than 4, maybe 5 years. What do you think, like, and give me some advice too. I mean, not me personally, but like those who are married, but like, what do you think, like, what changed it? Like, because I think, I always saw some of the parents have kept their kids longer over time because life got harder. As you're saying, the world has evolved. But how do we make it easier? Because like y'all had a family I grew up in. That's why some of y'all just ain't cutting it. And I can't be with y'all or have kids with y'all. And I'm being real. Let's be real. No. I'm being serious. This is a serious thing. It may sound funny. But like, and the thing is, I come from a certain family, so therefore I look for that in a mate. Right? And so that's what I'm getting at. Like, how do we look at the time difference? They've been married going on 30 years.
But I mean, also, I think the world's a little different too, because look, you graduated at 15, so that provide opportunity for you to start life earlier.
Okay, yeah. I graduated at 17, 2 years later, so I should be 2 years behind them in life.
I graduated high school at 18.
So I think I think Dion, what you're getting at, or where this is going is more so, as an individual, you will know when it's the right time for you.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody can choose that time for you, whether it's marriage, whether it's kids, whether it's, whatever. Okay. You got to love yourself. You got to understand yourself. You got to know what, as Dion, as Daniel, as my daughter Daria, do I know me as an individual first before I could even start talking about getting, settling down with somebody? Because, yeah. See, I think for me, the fortunate thing like just like how you came, there's a 9 years, there's a 9-year gap between me and Larry, right? Mm-hmm. My older brother. And we used to joke about that 9, but that's a whole different story, right? So there's a 9-year gap. So when I came along, all of my other siblings were already growing, coming into their own, right? And then you get, boom, this baby pops up, okay? So I spent a lot more time, 2 things. One, with my parents, okay, and growing up with them. And then I spent a lot more time when I was with my siblings being older because they were older, all right? And assimilating more to their life because they were older. So their friends, which were my friends, were older, right? So I think for me, naturally, my development was kind of accelerated.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
And so by the time that I knew very well, right, that when I started to date your mom, I was not at a point where I wanted to just be dating forever. Like I knew I wanted to go. I wanted to be to move down that road now to move in my life, to getting married, settling down, start a family. That's where I knew I was, right? And I think very quickly, when your mom and I started dating, it was she's on the same wavelength. Because if she wasn't, I was moving on. Because that, I'd already done that, going out every night to the club, talking to people, that stuff was already out in my system. And that's why I said, I go back to my earlier statement. If you're doing the same dumb stuff at 28 that you was doing at 18, that's a problem. And I think a lot of people in this world now either aren't prepared, don't want to acknowledge the fact that they are getting older.
I'm scared too.
Scared. All right. So
Justifying over there.
I just saying, I have friends who I talk to.
Yeah,
not just me.
I think for you go back to your original question. As a couple growing up now, right? Before you start to get to the point to be a couple, you got to know who you are as an individual. All right. You got to know what are the buttons that make you turn on and turn off.
That's the
Okay.
word.
And because if you don't know those buttons, when you get into a situation and a person hit that wrong button and you flip out,
They don't know how to react. And
Exactly.
They don't even know what to expect.
exactly.
And how does let's get back to topic. How does fatherhood tie into that? Even as men, even as for Daria, like how does having a father figure present in your life?
Because what my role should be, what my
that
role
example of what she can do.
yeah, what my role should be is a couple of things. One, my role should be to teach you what those things are, to help you along this path to development. Okay, to help you along the path to understanding who am I as an individual. Okay, to more importantly, show you
Said the
by example, right? What it is that how a man should treat a woman, how a husband should treat his wife, how a father should be to his kids. Yeah, do we have all the answers? No. Right? But I think if we try and we start, and where we don't have the answers, we look to the right people and the right environments to help us with those answers. Okay, that's what my role should be, and that's what father should be, so that when it comes time to release you guys into the world, you're not like a deer in headlights. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't know how to wash. I don't know how to turn on a car. I don't know how to turn on a light. I don't know, to walk in the store and go to the food store. I don't know those things. I'll give you an example. When your sister was going off to college, right? And we had this joke, right?
Not, because that's a very hefty example.
No, but we had this joke. We had this joke that with her, that I was going to take that whole month of September off when she moved. All right. And when she go to school, and I was moving to school so I could keep an eye on her. Right. And that was a running joke for a while. And I remember Daria saying to me, when she realized that, you know what, this joke going on a little too long. Okay. Saying to me, Daddy, that's how it looked. Right. I know we've been kidding about this whole, you moving with me to school and all that kind of stuff. Right. But you have to trust that what you and mommy have poured into me over the years has equipped me to be able to go off to school.
My sister said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the conversation that she and I was having.
She
Right.
and I spoke about it too.
And at that point is when I realized my job they're done. Okay. I now need to trust that what I have poured into her and what I have exposed her to, what we have taught her, what we have tried to show her by our own examples, some good, some bad, right? Because it's a balance. Everything is peaches and creams, right? That when she's equipped now to go out. Okay. Am I concerned? Yeah. Right. Because we live in a crazy world, and because not everybody that you come in contact went through that same process, right? So, and it's the same for you live here in the States. Dion is in Eleuthera, which is again away from the home. But when we release our kids to the world, we have to be confident in what we have put into them will equip them for what they're going to be, right? So when you do find the right young lady, okay, or when you think you found the right young lady, that you know how to treat her, how to talk to her, what it is to provide for your family, right? What it is to be able to have hard conversations, even though in some cases your mom and I may not have had hard conversations, right? Where we should have. But again, that learning process, if we didn't teach you all these types of things, and the same thing with you, Daniel, if we didn't teach you these types of things, then we failed as parents. And I don't think, you know, not pat myself on the back or tooting the horn, I don't think your mommy and I have failed as parents. I think we've done as the job that God gave us to do with you guys.
I think you did a great job. I gave you 98.5. And that's simply that's simply because I don't believe that anything in the world is perfect. But I give a 98.5, which is equal to anyone else's 100%. But yeah, I think that's definitely true. As you can see, I think having our father here today with us probably showed y'all that a lot of us is from our home and our upbringing. Daniel and I, as different as we are, share a lot of the same values. And I'm sitting here like things that I say to people that when I go and friends come and ask me for a word or whatever, I'm like, me and him ain't never talk about this, but I guess like the language has changed over the years. So he's a hip dad. Like all his sister was in the car today, like, Daddy, don't tell me you know this song too. Like he bouncing and me and him singing. She's a runner, she a track star together, and like that's the daddy he is, but he is also a praying man. Me and him smoke cigars together. Like he is that dad that I wish I could be. I mean, I hope I will be one day. But like he's that dad, like real talk. And I think you might have heard us talk about our mom being that mom. Like I think you might have seen a little bit of it. And I mean, hey, love you, man. Appreciate you. And we talk about fatherhood. One day we can talk about being a husband, because for you all ain't no way. It's the husband of the millennium, of the world.
It ain't easy.
Of the world.
So we have a couple minutes left. And what about fixing families? We have a fixed family.
What do you mean a fixed family?
Like we are healed, whole, happy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means. I'm not sure, but okay.
So I'm about just the power of relationship and forgiveness in fatherhood and because the relationship you and Dion had obviously wasn't probably always perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The person you and I always wasn't perfect, but it definitely has been a lot of forgiveness and healing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that for the last couple minutes and hopefully bless somebody. Bless a father son situation.
Daniel, you're touching on something that I think in some families you have a variety of family situations, right? So I think in some families you have a situation where parents don't believe that they need to heal nothing with their kids. Like I'm the parent, you're the child.
Yeah.
That's it.
Me and you ain't no friends. We ain't no company.
Right? You have other situations where me and you going to the club at the same time. Okay. So that's different.
Yeah.
I think having a family and raising children and being a spouse is one of the hardest jobs that I think anybody can take on. Okay. Building relationships with your kids, to me, is critically important. But also understanding that the relationship that I have with Dion is going to be different from the relationship I have with you. It's going to be different from the relationship I have with Daria, because you are three different types of people. Okay. So I think in some families, parents try to have that same relationship at all. Right. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of different dynamics that happens in families. Okay. Parents have to take the time to understand the child that they have. Okay. Going back to that same scenario I gave you in terms of the buttons. Okay. What motivates you doesn't motivate Dion, and vice versa. What motivates you too doesn't motivate Daria. Okay. Because you guys are three different types of kids. And I think where a parent doesn't take the time to understand who their child is, what their child is, how their child is, will always struggle. with a relationship. Okay, we'll always struggle in being a parent. We'll always struggle with being able to forgive or move on or to say I'm sorry or I didn't get this right. And it's easy to sit here and talk about it. It's hard to actually put it into practice. And you have to, listen, you all didn't ask to come here. Okay?
Repeat that for me, please.
You all did not ask to come here. No child got up in the womb and say, I won't come into this world. None. Okay?
No.
So
I was assuming to say, let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
You from the others, though.
So as a parent, you have to realize that, listen, I made a decision and a choice, okay, to bring a child into this world. Bringing a child into this world, once we get past all the gender reveal parties and the throwing the balloon if it's pink or blue and all that other garbage,
Who cares?
okay, bringing a child into this world is much more important than all that kind of stuff, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what tends to happen is we lose sight of what our role should be. And I go back to what I said earlier. My role should be to guide, develop, teach, okay, pour into, but more importantly, live an example, all right? Kids not only walk in their parents' footsteps, they emulate those footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
So if those footsteps are in the club, hanging on the blocks, smoking all night, drinking all night, how do you expect your child to be a productive citizen if that's all they see? All right. And I think for parents that are out there that may be struggling with their kids, you got to go back and look at what is the relationship I have with my child. Right. We have tried, Dan and I've always tried to build a home where if any of you are having a challenge that you're comfortable enough to come and talk to us about it, regardless of what that challenge is, good, bad, whatever. Okay. Have you guys always done it? Probably not. Right. But what we have tried to do is develop that home where you come and seek that guidance in the home first before you seek it out there in the world. Okay. And I think as parents and as couples, when you start to raise kids and bring kids into the world, you have to kind of die of self and in some cases live for that child. Now, when I say that, even that has limits and boundaries. Because you can't lose yourself. If you lose yourself, then how are you going to develop a person if you don't even know who you are?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But you got to understand that, listen, I can't just drop the child off by Grammy and go back to my life and chill. Yeah, you do that to give you some downtime so that you can regroup and refresh. Okay, but that's your child. You have to develop that relationship with your child.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll wrap up that. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, man. Thank you for all of them nuggets. That's a word. Eric Thomas, watch out.
I was for something else like being myself.
But no, I mean, again, I want to end as we started. I'm proud of you guys for the show. I think these open and honest conversations and transparent conversations are really needed. And from when you guys started, I encourage you every time to continue with it. It's going to get bigger and better and different and all that sort of stuff. But I think what's important is that people can take away from, you spend almost an hour with somebody. I should leave that hour a little bit better or a little bit more enriched than when I came into the hour. So, I encourage you guys to continue to soar with this, get your sister in on it. She's even more shy than Daniel. But again,
I shy too.
People don't believe that you say I'm shy.
But again, I think this too is all about developing that relationship with your kids. Okay, let's use this social media
This
forum,
platform.
yeah, for something positive.
Yeah. Hey, so as you can see, he's just as talkative as I am when he gets the floor. But thank you all. Thank you again, Daddy. Great show. I definitely am leaving with some nuggets that cause me to think about what I could do when I get in those shoes, you know. There's a lot more that could be said. So much more. I mean, an hour is never enough for some conversations, but bro, I think this has been our best show yet. No disrespect to anyone else who's been on the show. I mean, we only have had one other guest,
And
but
thanks to our studio assistant today.
yes, our studio assistant, come down here, please. Our little sister. So she's not in as well. So yeah, man, it's been a great time, and you know, we out here at Indy. I leave tomorrow morning, Daria leaves, so we had to get this in while we were all here together. Who knows when we'll all be together again? So thank you for tuning in. We're about a minute or so over, but you know, thank you all. Daniel, you wrap it up, man. Tell them we ain't making no promises, but y'all can see us soon. We can do better. We can do better, right?
Yes. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for watching us. Please feel free to sow a seed into Bishop's ministry and Pastor Mango seed by emailing the treasurer, Daria Gibson.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.